that awfully fast. So I'd like some questions from the audience.
Matt,
Yes.
we consider our Creative Commons license?
That could work. That's not really my, I mean, if some people want to put their work under a Creative Commons license, that's fine. My personal preference is a BSD license. I just really like the huggy chumminess of it, you know, that everybody gets along. All you do is give it a bit of attribution. But some people prefer the GPL. I don't really have any politics that way. So Creative Commons, if you put your work under Creative Commons, that is a license. I'm not putting any restrictions. Anybody who contributes to Code for Pizza chooses their own license. We just would like it to be an open license as opposed to a closed one.
Just like an additional comment to that, there are different kinds of Creative Commons licenses. In fact, one of them can protect the standpoint that you adhere to by making sure that the takers don't grab your stuff and make it private, that they don't, land grab on your stuff.
But
so,
then,
yeah, it can be useful.
It can be done, but then it's not really open. I think if it's open, it's open. It's either open or it's not. It's either open and given away without any forced promises that you'll give something back, or it's not open. I would like people to do stuff. I would like there to be give and take, but I still think that it's all right to steal it. If it's open source, take it. Anybody else?
Matt, obviously DFT have done a bit with their OpenDataNI.org or whatever initiative. How closely linked is the Code for Pizza with that?
I would say that nothing that we have done so far would have been possible without Bill McCluggage and Mark Bennett at the DFP. OpenDataNI was, to be honest, all of the stuff we've had real progress on is due to Mark and Bill basically doing stuff behind the scenes. There are probably other people inside the team that do stuff there, but I don't know their names. So that DFP team that run OpenDataNI, they have done the heavy lifting. They smoothed over things whenever there were worries, about what would be done with the data, because at the end of the day, when you're dealing with a transport service that has to get immense vehicles through traffic, some people are not going to be understanding that traffic slows immense vehicles down. And we see that all the time, people complaining about it, but at the end of the day, we're not going to make it better. What we want to do is we want to try and get to the point where we have a good relationship with TransLink so that we can help them shape what their I suppose their data infrastructure is for the future. The data that we've got right now is timetable data. We'd like real-time GPS data. That would be the absolute holy grail. And short of asking everybody to run a certain application on their phone that will constantly report their location when they're on a bus, we'd like that built into the buses, because you could then pull up your app and you could say, well, type in Stormont, and it'll say, well, go to this location, there'll be a bus there in 10 minutes. Or the bus is half a mile away, if you want to be accurate about it, and avoid the traffic. So, we want to use the DFP and OpenDataNI to basically further that relationship, and they're a great buffer because everybody trusts them. They're nice guys.
Just a comment, you might want to look into talking to the CAD companies. There's a CAD company in the US where once you've ordered your CAD, it's your CAD, which means that you get to see its position on the map on your mobile until it arrives and you can enter it, which is excellent because you don't need to stand around waiting for the CAD. And the CAD companies, they do have the GPS position already set.
I would like to see a map from the CAD companies that we only have two big CAD companies and lots of little ones. If we could get their data onto one big map, so you could call the company that's nearest to you. Who's got an idle CAD nearest to me? Well, that's of interest to me, because then it'll get here quicker and I can get on my way. But yes, we'll look at it. Tim, you were next.
Sorry. The DataGov UK guys?
Yep.
The groups in Google Groups. I haven't seen much of any Northern Ireland participation in it. Do you know if the OpenDataNI guys are participating in that or not? Because
I don't know if they are, but I can certainly ask Mark.
are there any Sparkle endpoints around here, or anybody doing L stuff, or?
I don't know.
Okay. No, I'm just asking. asking a question.
That's how the Belfast Telegraph coin map, that came from there, and was done by Banjax.
There are people doing lots of things.
No, I'm just saying.
And the
tying
parking
in,
one, and the
Yeah.
parking one's Northern Ireland as well.
Because, you know, some of the, like, I'm interested in the employment data and pre-employment data, people who are freelancers under the wings, and, you know, all that kind of stuff that most people do. And trying to create indexes based upon open source data, Sparkle points, so that it's useful against comparison sites, the UK and Wales and the rest. It's a nightmare without other participating agencies.
Some of the difficulty we've had so far is, for example, whenever the Ordnance Survey data was going to be the 1 to 10,000 or 10,001 map was going to be released for free, I rang Ordnance Survey in Northern Ireland and said, "When's the date? When's it coming?" And they said, "We're not doing it. Nothing to do with us. That's Ordnance Survey GB." Now, I don't know if that's changed yet because, well, you know, I basically said to Mark Bennett at DFP, "You work with them and see what we can get out of them, and let him do the heavy lifting because, you know, he has the power to do it."
It was, the same thing was discussed 5 years ago, and there were treasures involved in that too, and so far,
Sorry, it didn't
so
go.
far, you know, just not,
But it'll require, you know, I mean, there's enough people in this room to provide a certain amount of force.
yeah.
You know, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of FOI requests should come into this room. Do you remember the question?
Yeah, going back to the discussion about TransLink data and the potential taxi data, have TransLink provided any, just kind of two questions, real-time data about trains, because obviously they have that for their internal signage?
No, and last time I spoke to TransLink, they said that they weren't at that stage yet, and it would require, I mean, there's a budget that needs to be applied to that to make that happen. So that's where all this huggy internet stuff hits the real world. You know, at the end of the day, somebody has to be paid to do that, and equipment needs to be bought, and there are procurement rules that have to be followed, so that will take time, but it's something that the thing that I got from TransLink when I met them was that they know what's happening in other regions. They know whenever you go to Sweden, you can see a big map of where all the buses are in the universe, and that's fantastic, and they want that. It just takes time to implement that.
And the second part, have they provided any fare data and payment data? Well, answer that one.
They haven't provided any fare data. We did ask for that, but again, at the moment we're taking small steps. I mean, we've been asked to basically put together some sort of presentation for the next Code for Pizza, and maybe we'll get somebody from TransLink to come along. They haven't provided, but it isn't because, you know, they've said we're not providing that. It's just we're taking small steps because we've got part-timers that are doing this. They have said that they are quite willing to work with smart developers on revenue share programs and whatnot. So I mean, they are very open to collaboration. It's really quite inspiring. Ready? That's the question.
What's a typical code for pizza session like? You know, how many coders, how much pizza, how long?
Between 80 and 100 pounds of pizza on a Tuesday night. And the Tuesday night is chosen very, very specifically because it's 2 for Tuesday at Domino's. So it's a copious amount of pizza, and we get about 20 developers and designers. So there's usually about 3, 4, 5 designers who are interested in user interface and things, and then the rest are developers. I mean, the first night they self-organized into, we're the database guys, we're going to work on database. We're the glue guys, we're going to work on glue, and then these other guys are going to work on the client side. It was quite inspiring to see people just self-organizing without the need for team leaders or weekly project report meetings. You know, it was very inspiring. Some of the guys are here. So, is that all?